forgiveness is so fucking essential to my growth. I have a little baby in here sleeping with me. I don't know how long that's gonna last, but she's a cute little background, so. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lacey Jane. If you're new here, I talk about spirituality, I talk about manifesting, I talk about just living a really, really happy life, whatever that looks like for you, because happiness looks different for everyone. So today I'm just gonna be talking and rambling because I have a story that I wanna share about a revelation that recently happened to me. Today I'm talking about forgiveness and how important forgiveness is in our lives, not only just to like manifest the life that we want, but just in order for us to live a really, really happy and fulfilled life. You know, we have to be able to forgive parts of us and forgive other people. And basically the way that our life looks right now is a manifestation of all of our decisions. It's a manifestation of all of our words that we've spoken and all of our decisions that we've made. And I know that I've spoken on limiting beliefs before and how limiting beliefs created a belief system within us, and it was planted sometime in the past, or it was something that someone maybe said to us once in passing, or you know, something traumatic happened to us and it planted that limiting belief within us. And so forgiveness is so incredibly important because we all have these energy cords that are connecting us to the past. They're connecting us to a person or a place or a thing or a situation or a traumatic incident that somehow planted that limiting belief, and we don't even realize that these cords have so much jacked up energy in it, and it's affecting us in every day. God, there's a gnat. I don't know if anybody saw that. I really hope I didn't inhale it, but whatever. And so one really, really good example of this is like, say someone was in a toxic relationship for a long time. Let's just go ahead and use myself. I was in a toxic relationship for a really, really long time, and I stayed in it for years. And so after that relationship was over, I still had that energy in that energy cord. I had that toxic energy that just stayed there, and it showed up as this limiting belief that men ain't shit. So I had this belief that all men were cheaters and all men were liars. And basically because that energy stayed the same in that energy cord that connected me from me to that past relationship, everybody that I came into a relationship with after that showed up exactly as my limiting belief because I didn't address that energy. So men for me showed up as liars. They showed up as men that couldn't commit. They showed up as cheaters. And that only happened because I didn't address that energy. I refused to forgive that person, and I refused to, forgive myself. And once I decided to forgive that person, and once I decided to forgive myself for staying so long, and forgive myself for allowing myself to put up with that, is when the energy within that energy cord changed. It changed the energy between me and past relationships, which means it allowed me to get past that limiting belief and change the energy that's associated with all relationships after that. And that isn't even the point of this video. What I really wanted to get into was the revelation that I had just last week. But that was a really good intro story. Okay, so flashback. I was just scrolling on Facebook doing nothing with my life, and I came across the profile and like the people you may know of one of my friends that I had for a really long time, since like 3rd grade up until high school. I don't know what came over me, and I don't know if anybody else has this, but I can usually feel when Spirit is speaking to me. And Spirit speaks to us through our intuition. Spirit is that voice in our head where we're like, well, fuck, what is that? Spirit always screams things at me, and it seems like Spirit just puts these heavy ass things on my shoulders like, Lacey, you need to be listening to me. And as soon as I saw her profile, I was like, fuck. Because I immediately knew that I needed to speak to her. And I needed to speak to her because the way our relationship ended just wasn't good. I was an awful person 10 years ago, and I made a lot of bad decisions, and I had really hurtful words, and I had a lot of fights with her. Now looking back, it doesn't really matter what the fights were about, but I knew that I needed to apologize. And granted, it wasn't all on me. Like, I wasn't like the only factor in the situation. I know that there were things that hurt me in the situation too, but I just knew that I needed to apologize for my part. And I knew that I needed to forgive along with apologizing, because forgiveness is so fucking essential to my growth. And another reason that I needed to get past this and apologize and forgive her and forgive myself is that I needed to be the bigger person. I also needed to apologize because I know for me personally, I still have the words of bullies from middle school that ring in my head all the time. And granted, they don't affect me like they used to, but I know that those people, they still live in my head as that person back in middle school because that's all I know of them. You know, I don't know about their growth past then. I don't know about who they've changed into. I just know what I remember and my side of the story and how I perceived the words that they said to me. I don't want Lacey to be alive in someone else's memory as forever that person that was hateful, or that person that was hurtful, or that person that was just mean and a bitch, because I'm not that person anymore. And I don't want that person to be alive in anyone else's memory. I don't want that person to stay there forever because we have no idea how our words affect other people. And I know my words, like I know what other people have said to me that still affect me, and I just don't want that person to be alive anymore, you know, because I am a new person. I've grown, I've changed. I have forgiven myself for a lot of things that I've done, and I've forgiven other people for things that they've done to me. And I just knew that when Spirit told me that I needed to message her and apologize, I needed to do it without expecting anything in return. I needed to do it because it's essential to my growth. I have to work to be the person that I want to become. And not only that, when you carry these aches and these pains, when you carry the words that you've said to someone that hurt someone, or you carry the words that someone else has said to you, you're carrying a burden. You're carrying this burden that you don't even realize shows up in your life all the time. How this showed up for my life, because not only was this like a life-changing moment for me to finally 10 years later apologize, I realized that everything that my life has been up until now has been a manifestation of who that person was in that friendship, who I was in that friendship. I look at my vision board, and one of my goals for 2021 is to have these these sisterhood connections with someone. I want to have friends that I can grow with, friends that are going to spiritually evolve and lift me up and make me a better person, friends that I can be a good influence on and they can be a good influence on me too. And I realized that I haven't had friendships like that because of the energy that I had in this past friendship, because I didn't address it. Man, this is a lot for me to say out loud, but I realized that I was attracting friends that weren't good for me, or that used me, or that they weren't spiritually, they weren't what I needed. And I attracted those friendships because I never addressed this energy, because I had this limiting belief. And when you have that limiting belief and you don't address that energy, that's how everything shows up in your life. And I had this epiphany that, like, God, why is it taking me 10 years? It doesn't really matter if it takes 10 years. It doesn't matter if it takes 30 days. It doesn't matter if it takes an hour. But you have to address your traumas. You have to forgive. You have to forgive yourself. It's really, really, really easy to look back on any situation and feel like we are the victim. That is the easy part. But the hard part, the part that's important, is just being the bigger person and taking responsibility, because, the other person, the other party could not receive your apology in the way that you want them to, and that's okay. That's okay, because we're not responsible for someone else's growth. An apology doesn't have to be, I want to be friends now. It doesn't have to be, you don't even have to accept an apology. It's just, as long as you do your part for your growth to become the person that you want to be, you're not responsible for how the other person receives that. You're not responsible for their growth journey. You're just responsible for your own. You're just responsible for being a good person. You don't have to fix everything, but you can grow. You can choose to be a new person today instead of trying to change the past. You know, we can't change the past. That's beyond our control, but we can totally make the decision to just spiritually evolve into the person that we want to become, into a person that we're proud of. Forgiveness can be for anything. I know that I've probably said this a million times because I'm just like, bleh, like all kinds of shit's coming out of my mouth. But forgiveness could be like, you could be forgiving your parents. You could be forgiving yourself for situations that you put yourself in. You know, it could be friendships. It could be relationships. You could be forgiving yourself for just being hard on yourself. Now, that's something I have to do every single day, is I have to forgive myself for the way that I criticize myself sometimes, or the way that I speak to myself sometimes, or how hard I am on myself sometimes. And you'll realize that once you start to actually address these things, once you start to address these traumas and these energy cords that you've been holding on to, you'll start to realize that things in your life will show up differently because you're not carrying the weight of that trauma. You're not carrying the weight of that limiting belief anymore. I'm not gonna share today about how to, you know, forgive yourself, or how to start the process of forgiving, or, you know, any kind of forgiveness methods today. I feel like that could be a video later down the road, but I just wanted to share just my story and my thoughts and my feelings on this, because I just hope that it gets you thinking, and I hope that it plants a seed within you to forgive yourself today. When you do learn to start forgiving yourself and others, it's like an actual weight will be lifted off of your shoulders. It's just so valuable, and it's so important for your growth. And if you don't really know where to start with addressing forgiveness or addressing your limiting beliefs, then I would recommend just start by journaling, just writing out your thoughts and your feelings surrounding, you know, maybe a person or a situation you are in, or a trauma that you can feel that's stuck within you. Because I promise, once you start journaling, once you start getting things out, it'll start to come to you, you know, because I literally will be in the grocery store picking out avocados, and I'll be like, fuck, there it is. That's my limiting belief. That's what I've been holding on to this time. Why haven't I addressed this 10 years ago? What's going on? I really, really, really appreciate it if you've made it this far. If you've enjoyed my rambling, if you've enjoyed my stories, make sure that you like this video and subscribe to my channel and click the notification button so that you can be the first person to see Lou's face. I hope that you guys have an amazing day, and I hope that you just have love and light today, and you get everything that your little heart desires, because you deserve it. But I will see you guys again very, 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 very soon.